Okay, so this one says marriage is a different something altogether, because you are going into another family altogether. You ain't just marrying the guy or the lady, but the whole family ties and things. And this is so important. You know how it feels when your mother-in-law or your father-in-law doesn't show much love or support in the marriage. And we all know that you cannot change a human being who actually doesn't like you. If he doesn't, he doesn't. If she doesn't, she doesn't. So what can actually help you in this way is prayer, because prayer is the key to all problems. So make sure that you develop this family bonding with your partner before you get into the marriage, or else it's going to end up being some type of way. Also, another comment, it says after the guy starts to buy the wedding stuff and you as a lady get your stuff too, but after going to see the lady's parents, you have to inform the church elders and so that you can start your counseling session at the church. I mean, this is something that we all know about. So you're gonna get counseled and all of that. And one thing, you should always take note of genetics. You should know the sickle cell status of your partner before you get married. I think even during the period of dating, because you do not want any heartbreak some months or week towards your marriage. Because I promise, at this stage, you are so in love with one another and nothing can break you apart. But when this situation steps in, it becomes so emotional. And a lot of people have gone through these emotional crises. So why don't you save yourself and then get to know his status before you walk down the aisle with him? The next one also talks about you just marrying not only the person but the whole family. We have already spoke about it, so we're gonna skip the comments. The next comment says, talk to God about the marriage and what he thinks. If he releases you, fine. If not, then don't bore but groom yourself. Another one says, be committed. Plan the wedding in such a way that there are no debts after the marriage. I've already spoken about that. It says deciding on a place where you would both live after the marriage. I have already spoken about that as well. So now let's move straight to grooming yourself for the marriage. Grooming yourself for the marriage. We have spoken a lot about the preparation towards the wedding ceremony. And to summarize it, my major thing or point is that you should budget a year or so before the wedding. Do not start saving for the wedding plans few months to the wedding. If you do that, you are going to take loan. And mind you, do not ever take a loan or borrow money from a friend to do the wedding. Do not. Make sure that you finish with your wedding without having debts. Make sure. Some people would say that it is not possible, but I think that it is so possible. Just try it and see, and you come to me giving me the best result that I ever want to hear. So now let's go to grooming yourself. I'll read the comments that some people have actually put in place. It says, develop an intimate relationship with God. I believe is the best thing to actually do when you are planning towards a marriage. You can't enter into a successful covenant with a husband if you don't have one with God first. As they would always say, if you are able to love God, then it means that you will be able to love your wife or your husband. So if someone ever tells you that, oh, I do love God, but I don't really love my wife, then there's a question mark somewhere. Because I believe that if you love God, it means you also love your wife. And there's one thing that I've also noticed, that the moment you make a decision to actually be with someone, that is when you meet all the beautiful ladies and all of the handsome guys and rich guys out there. But it takes you to stay committed. Loving someone is a decision. It's a commitment that you make. So if you're really ready to make the commitment to want that special person, you would not be enticed by the beauty of another woman to get into their, the word I can't even say here. And the person actually gave a scripture for that. So we can all read Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verse 12. Another one talks about trust. It says, no man wants a woman who cannot be faithful, and any fresh boy there you see, you won't turn your neck. You should be 100% committed, like already said. Be happy with what God has blessed you with. Be a woman of your word. If you promise to do something, to do it. Don't do promise and fail. I did beg. Don't do no good. So the next one is take care of our home. You must be able to be emotionally and physically ready to take care of a house. So one would ask, when is it time for you to get married? And my question is, when you are emotionally, financially, psychologically, and physically stable, you can be considered as someone who is ready for marriage. Because marriage isn't always like bed of roses. You will sometimes have issues and all, but it takes maturity. It takes a well-matured mind to be able, two well-matured minds to be able to solve the issue and to keep the relationship going. If you have issues or defaults with any of these things, how would the marriage end? So do not rush into getting married. You need to make sure you are at least halfway prepared in these things. And as you get married also, you keep on preparing yourself and learning new things. Do not say that you are okay where you are. You need to build and keep on developing. And that way your marriage wouldn't be boring. It will still be interesting because you always find new ways and means to make the marriage work. So the next one is learn how to cook. A comment from someone. She says she's actually a lady who is saying that every gentleman wants a home cooked food. It's not nice to be getting food outside all the time. So learn how to cook. Sometimes your in-laws can pass by. What do you think will happen if you don't know how to cook? I mean, this is so interesting. Well, maybe personally growing up, I thought cooking was actually a talent or a gift. If you don't have that talent, you can't cook. I mean, I was way little, yes. But if you really want to know how to cook, you can learn how to cook. So my advice to ladies out there, if you don't know how to cook, it's never too late. You can learn. If you don't know how to set a table for the family, for dinner, for supper, for breakfast, learn how to do it, because it is at the dining table that you are able to socialize and spend time with your family. Many people do not know that. It is very important and key. Learn to save. Be an independent woman and learn how to save. Oh, that was what she actually said. I'm not saying that unfortunate should happen, but if there's a divorce or something, at least you have something to rely on. Don't always rely on the riches of your partner. You should also do something for yourself. You don't always have to go to him for money. You need to also sometimes give in. There are actually situations whereby I've seen some men not really love their wives, because the woman cannot actually provide, I mean, a little bit to support the family. But when the woman started working, that was when the man was able to appreciate. So these things happen. If you're not enlightened on these things, you'll be asking yourself questions. I cook for my husband, I make sure I serve him what it is, blah blah blah, all and that. But there could be something missing. And husbands should also ever be ready to support their wives. You should be supportive. Then it also talks about self-esteem. Self-esteem is really important. These are actually tips for grooming yourself before marriage. The first one we spoke about was actually towards the wedding ceremony, and these are comments I'm reading from people and actually adding up. So it says self-esteem. Ladies should have self-esteem. You know, one thing is so interesting when you go out with your husband to be, okay, with your friends, and then everyone is showing off. You know, some guys really love that, showing off their wives and all, and then you don't have self-esteem. I mean, he wouldn't feel like taking you out because you don't really. Anyways, the guys can actually explain further, but that is what happens. I've had guys actually tell me that. Okay, so it happens. You need to have self-esteem, not only for your future husband, for yourself as a woman. You need to have self-esteem. And also the man, you need to be very hardworking. Some men are so lazy. So lazy. Some men are super duper lazy. You need not to be lazy. You need to be hardworking. So if you are preparing, grooming yourself for marriage, please make sure that you are hardworking, because you're about to create another family. You will give birth. You're going to have children. You cannot leave the burden on only your wife. So make sure that you are physically, psychologically prepared for that. Make sure that you're not going to leave the burden on only your wife. She's gonna end up being wrinkled, because you know that stress can actually cause your skin to be some type of way, and then after you, the man, you're done, you're gonna be like, oh, my lady, my woman. Now they wouldn't even say my lady. They're gonna be like, oh, my wife, oh, that woman is not even looking like how she used to be again. If you were to be doing your duties as a good husband, then she would have still been having her skin all fresh. So please, these are some of the tips you need to groom yourself with. And the financial plan, like I said, that is what someone has also mentioned here. And then it also talks about emergency plan saving. Emergency savings are really and really good. Please, you need to learn how to do emergency saving. It really helps your family. It really helps you, okay? And then you should also learn how to treat a lady. Please, if you know that you have issues in treating a lady, learn it before you walk down the aisle with the lady. Don't tell me that you're going to learn how to do it after marriage. No, it doesn't work like that. A lot of people have said that, oh, I will learn how to do this after the marriage, but then it fails. Why don't you do the grooming? I mean, most of it, when you get married, you're going to see some weak sides or negative sides that you're supposed to work on, but at least the ones that are so of priority, work on them. And as you're married, so you get married and then you see other mistakes that you're making, you work on it. You don't stand there and say that, oh, that is how I am, so you have to take me for what I am. No, it must stop. If you're holding an attitude that is not good, that is not worth it, please change. Don't say that is how you are. No, that is not how you are. You can change it. You can. Trust me, you can change it. Okay, so make Jesus the priority of your relationship. You know, let me tell you something. The moment you start planning your wedding, that is when the devil is trying to make things not work for you. So why don't you make God the priority? You need to pray. You need to always pray for the marriage. You need to always pray towards your relationship and all of that. Because if you don't do that, it's going to affect you. Because thousands of eyes are on you trying to spoil your marriage. And you should know that marriage is a blessing. Someone's blessing is in his job or her job. Someone's blessing is in their marriage. Make sure that you make God the center of it all in your marriage. Do not wait till you're married before you start saying that, oh, husband, honey, darling, sweetie, whatever sweet name you're gonna call your husband anyways. You do not wait till that time before you start praying. Start praying. Make it a habit to be praying. Even while you're in the relationship, planning for the wedding. Because during the wedding, a whole lot of things happen in the spiritual realm that if your eyes are not open to see it, is a lot. It is a lot. This is actually a true life story I'm telling you about, okay? It's very spiritual. It takes a spiritual person to actually believe the story. But there lived a couple who actually loved each other so much. They had planned the wedding, but they didn't really follow standards. They thought, oh, love stands at all, so they were not praying at all. On their wedding day, a lot of bad things happened. People were getting running stomach, a whole lot. It's so like the caterer, they hadn't tasted the caterer's food. They had. But all of these things happened. The wedding was a mess. It was a mess. In fact, everything about the wedding was a mess. It was a mess. So she came out to actually give these advice. And it actually works. This isn't something that I'm saying from a book I have read. These are actually real life stories. Things that are actually happening. And these are also comments and reading from people who have actually also shared their views on it. So it says, Matthew chapter 6 verse 33. Okay, this person is actually Bible-like. So it says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and learn to love Christ, and you will love your wife. I think I have read a similar comment to this, so we're gonna skip the comments. So these are some of the tips that you can actually use in your preparation towards your marriage. It's a lot, but I will end here and then come up with a next session. Remember, the people coming to your marriage are not going to be in your home when you get married. It's good to listen to criticisms, but you do not always have to focus on them. Because some people are actually bent on destroying your marriage. Some people can come to your wedding and be like, what kind of a guy did this girl marry? He doesn't even look nice. He doesn't even have a good job. He doesn't even this, does that, blah, 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 and a whole lot. Ladies love to do that a lot. They try to compare you, the lady, and they try to compare you, the man, and hey, girlfriend, how come you landed up with this kind of guy? It's not supposed to be so. You knew why you went in for that particular man, and you, the man, knows why you went in for that particular lady. So why do you have to let people dictate what actually happens on your wedding day? And so because of that, you spend lots of money to get a celebrity marriage. I have no problem with grand marriages. It's nice. It's very nice. But my advice is for you to cut your coats according to your size. If you are blessed with riches, and then you can put up a grand wedding, nobody cares. I mean, you have the money, you have the fans. It's more like you choosing the school that you want your children to be. Someone might not afford a bigger school that pays in dollars. Some will also afford. Sorry, Ghana City, we're in Ghana, so Ghana City. You need to know what you have, the budget that you are on. So please, if you're lucky to get a husband who's gonna give you a grand wedding, there's nothing wrong. Embrace it. But make sure that after he giving you the grand wedding, your life is not gonna be miserable. So make sure that you cut costs, you plan. Some people want to have a machine house. Well, I kind of like always feel like getting a machine house. But me wanting a machine house is based on if my budgets will reach that means. If it wouldn't, I will make sure that I put that wish or that dream aside. And later on in life, if I'm able to get enough to afford a machine house, then I will do so, because I love gadgets so very much. That is just by the way, but that is just an example for you. So if you dream of having something and then you don't have the means at that moment, do not let the dream off, but let it still stay there. Once you're all put through, you can just do whatever you want to do. Yes, so that's it. So basically, these are few tips for preparation towards marriage. And one thing I forgot to say, the pressure. When some years, even a year before getting married, there is so much pressure on you, because you're thinking, what wedding gown should I wear? How, like, you're always thinking, it's supposed to be like this, it's supposed to be like that. So there is so much pressure. But my friend, I'll tell you, don't let the pressure get to you. Because when the pressure gets to you, that is when you're gonna make so many decisions that is actually gonna affect the marriage. So please, don't be pressurized. Do what you gotta do with your partner. If there's an advice you need to seek advice from experienced people. Seek advice. I always say that no one man is an island. We all need one another to be able to make decisions in life. No matter how autonomous you are, you still need people. So seek advice. Thank you so very much for staying tuned with me. It has really been a lovely time with you, and I want to thank you all for bringing your comments in. All those who sent their comments, I'm super duper glad. And since we are in this period, I want you all to stay safe. Make sure that you follow all the precautions. Make sure that you wash your hands so very well. Do not only wash your hands with water, but wash your hands with soap and water. And then make sure that you stay safe. Make sure that you observe social distancing. Thank you so very much, and stay blessed.